Hello, everyone, and welcome to another podcast of Meet the Artists. GHAA artists are among our favorites, certainly, and we like to showcase their artwork. And today you are in for a treat because we have Mr. Michael LaBranch with us. And I met you at the art walk. Let me say hi first. Hello, Michael.
Hi, Joan. How are you?
Good, good. How are you? You doing
Excellent.
today?
Thank you.
So I want to tell people that I met you at the art walk, and I had seen some of your work, but I didn't know there was such a personality behind it. So that was kind of cool. So questions. I was looking at your website, reading a little bit about you, but tell everyone how you became interested. Where did you start?
Well, I think even as a young child, I always liked to draw and sketch and just was interested at a very early age. But to go to the next level, it was to go to the next level, it took me a long time. My younger brother started painting when I was in probably just out of high school. He was still in, and it looked interesting. And I think it wasn't until Bob Ross started getting popular on PBS that
I love it.
I think, he made it look easy. He made it look fun. And he had such a easygoing voice. He just made you feel like you could do it. He was so confident. But his style of painting was obviously more fun than anything else. It wasn't going to be anything that was going to be on the MFA. But Helen, I believe her name was Helen Van Wyck, was a PBS painter out of Boston, out of Rockport. And she painted more traditional painting, and I fell in love with it. I thought it was the coolest thing. But because of work and, I'm in high tech, I didn't really take good, proper lessons. And like anything else, a little bit of education can go a long way. So it wasn't until maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, I started taking a little bit more formal lessons to help out with some color theory and composition and so on. So it started a while ago, but it took a long time to get going.
Where did you take lessons?
Her name, oh Jesus, Nicole DeClerc in Plastow, New Hampshire.
Yeah, sounds very familiar.
She's been around. I believe she's from France, and her studio was right down the street from my house. So I took lessons with her about 3 or 4 years ago. And then one day I turned on YouTube, and there is such a huge abundance of, tremendous education on YouTube for free that I became a junkie. I was always on YouTube trying to find someone new, trying to find a new slant on how to, create. So YouTube really helped a lot.
I'll tell you, you know what? I still teach part-time. I'm partially retired. I say partially retired. So I still do some teaching, and I have one student, actually probably now 2, that really get turned on to the YouTubes because there's a lot of tutorials. And like you said, a lot of artists are really willing to share what they know. And there is one woman who joined my class. She not only does watercolors, she does acrylics, she does, pastels, she does all this work. So she's sitting there and she's doing all this stuff, and I'm kind of walking around the class. So when I got to her, she said, "What do you recommend?" So I said, "I recommend I sit here and you teach the class," because it was just so good. I was like, "Yay." Sure. I said to her, "Where did you learn all this stuff?" On YouTube. Amazing. So it's a great resource, and you can find YouTubes on rock painting, on watercolors, acrylics, just about anywhere. So absolutely. Yeah, very, very, very smart. So you were working outside the art field. So are you retired now? Did I read that you were retired now?
I am retiring October 14th at 4 o'clock.
And how many hours, minutes, and seconds is that?
Good so I'm hoping, especially as the pandemic winds down, to get back and take formal training outside of YouTube, because there's nothing like a one-on-one where, if I had specific questions I could ask. When I ask my TV. My TV does not talk back to me.
You know something, after you reach a certain age, it does start talking back to you. So you're all set. Just wait it out. Just wait it out.
That's good.
Did you have a mentor? I know you said your siblings, some of your siblings.
Yeah.
You actually have someone who kind of led
Absolutely.
you.
I
Yeah.
wish I did. If Bob Ross counts as a mentor, it may have been him, because I
Sure.
think that he made it accessible. And like when if you don't know anything, like if you don't know how to play guitar and you watch someone play guitar, you're envious and I wish I could play guitar. Well, if you took some lessons, you'll be able to play guitar.
Yeah.
Once I saw him on TV painting, and again, I still watch him occasionally because he's amusing, he's entertaining.
He is.
That I could do some stuff. I didn't necessarily paint his style, the wet on wet that he promoted, but at least I could try to get some ideas that he had and have fun, have a lot of fun with it. So
Yeah.
always just a hobby, and it still kind of is a fun hobby, but
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
That's great. That's great. I used to watch him also when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I always thought, his show was like a half hour long, So he used to paint like really, really fast. And sometimes I'd get my paints and try to follow along. And that was not happening.
Mm.
And then, many years later in an interview, he would say, well, in a half hour, you make a lot of mistakes. Well, you don't have time to fix them. So, oh, look, there's a happy little tree there, or there's a happy little accident here or there.
Right.
And you're right, a very soothing voice and so on and so forth. He made everything sound good.
Yeah.
So when did you join the GHAA? I gotta ask.
About a year before the pandemic started, I saw some promotion for it for you guys. And so I said, you know what, it's time for me to start getting a little bit more serious. So I joined. And that's when everything started to open up. The art walk opened up. Did some work with Jim Carboni over at the Cider Feast, and that was a lot of fun. So it's GHAA has opened up a lot of doors for me.
Yeah.
So quickly, it's amazing. It's the folks over at G's have allowed me to hang my work for the last 2 months. Unfortunately, I'm taking them down this Friday. It's sad. My time is up. But Denise and Maddie have been just tremendous. They are such good ambassadors for Haverhill. I'm so happy to know them.
Me too. I only met them that day of the art walk, the same day I met you. And very friendly, like you said, very supportive of the arts and Haverhill in general. So yeah. Absolutely amazing. So you already kind of answered this question. But where do most of your ideas and inspirations come from? I know that the animals and
I've been fortunate enough to do a lot of traveling, and I love landscape painting. So I think I perhaps was a cowboy in a previous life because I love the Southwest.
Nice.
I tend to a lot of the paintings that some of my favorites, I don't think anyone would have any interest in, but for me, I have a connection with them because I was there. I was there 5 years ago. I was maybe there 100 years ago. I'm not sure, but I definitely have this affinity for it. So I think that my inspiration comes from anywhere. It's just the inspiration for one of my paintings, the one we talked about when I met you, was because of the strife that's kind of going on with the country recently. So much divisiveness. I'm like, we're all in this together. So, and it just came by accident. It just happened. And I was so pleased with the way it happened, but
it did. Can we let people know what we're talking about? Can we share?
Sure.
Try,
let me
bringing it up and let folks know what we're talking about. Because
let me see if I can do this.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites of yours.
So this one, can you see it, Joan?
I can, that's it.
So when I started to think about how I could combine all of us, which is impossible to do, but many of us together into one painting, I said, hey, this would be kind of cool if I could do maybe like 4 quadrants or something. And I did a couple sketches and I said, I'm going to make one shot at it and see where my mistakes are or where I can improve it. And this is my first pass. I just felt that it was so much fun and it conveyed the message that I wanted to. And as I was painting it, the We the People came into my head during the process. I forget where I was in the process. So I said, that's definitely, the message that this painting
Wants to deliver.
trying to convey, at least.
Yeah, yeah. The more I look at it, the more I see it. When I first looked at it, I just saw a bunch of different people, white, black, Chinese, or Asian. But
yeah.
now that I'm looking at it, I see the rainbow over here and the purple
Yeah.
hair. You really captured the whole thing here.
Yeah. And
Wonderful.
what was exciting about this, when I sketched it first, and when I started to paint it, I said, I have to document this, and I want to take a picture of each quadrant as I'm doing it. So I painted the Asian woman's face first. I took a picture. I painted the rest of it without taking another photograph because I couldn't stop. I was so focused on painting, I forgot about taking the photograph as I went through. So this is truly an enjoyable painting to have done.
Yeah, you know what? It really almost feels like you channeled it more than created it. It has that feeling to it.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you do the calligraphy freehand?
I did. Well, I sketched it in pencil, in light pencil first, because for me, it's easy to correct my pencil mistakes than my painting mistakes. And it kind of came out just the way I wanted it. So once I went ahead and painted it with the brush and tried to get even the background. I had a different color background originally, but I the background to more of a parchment look to like the Constitution actually looks like.
Good for you. That's awesome. That is an awesome picture. And people can get this like on t-shirts and mugs, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, and that information and contact information is on your website, yes?
It is. Yes, it is.
So we'll tell them again, but tell them now what your website is.
Actually, it's mdlstudios.com. And I think I have it right down here because this is something that was suggested to me when I had the coffee mugs made. I didn't have any information on it. And someone said, well, what if someone gets it as a gift and they want someone else to buy one? They won't know where to get it.
That's exactly right.
It's live and learn. I'm getting there.
You certainly are. That's a magnificent piece. And like I said, the more I look at it, the more I see, there's a guy in there, there's a girl in there. There's all kinds of stuff going on here.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Love it, love it. What else you got for us, my darling? Let's see.
Most of my other stuff is towards the lighter side. I got into painting pet portraits only because I love animals, and the joy that the pet owners get out of getting their pet put on canvas, whether the pet is still with us or is going on to puppy heaven. I've had so much fun doing it. And this is actually my friend's dog, Buddy. And Buddy was very photogenic, and that I just had, a good time. So I've done many pet portraits, and I don't know if I have a knack for it or not, but I definitely have an enjoyment for doing them.
Yeah, and when someone enjoys what they're doing, it shows in the work. Like I'm looking into this dog's face, and definitely looks happy, looks like a dog that was loved. You know what I mean? So it's not just a picture. There's an emotion being conveyed here.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, are these acrylics or oils?
Right now I'm focusing in on oils.
Oils.
Because that's what I've been doing mostly. So, but I definitely want to branch out and try some other mediums when I can. But I'll probably tap some professional for lessons to do it. I mean, I have acrylics. I've painted acrylics. I've done murals at restaurants in acrylics.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Oils
are my favorite right now.
Oils are favorite. I have a student that does nothing but oils. He absolutely loves oils. Sometimes I mix the two, like the backgrounds and whatnot, because I want them to dry relatively fast so I can get at this. I might do the background in acrylic and then do the foreground in oils so that I can blend them and stuff. So that's an option too. You can actually mix them.
Right.
Watercolor and ink. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. One of my YouTube teachers, if you will, he does his entire painting, the back, the undercoating, underpainting, in acrylics. So he
Yeah.
has this nice. He has it laid out. It's all done. It's dry, and then he can do his
Mhm.
nails on top of it.
That's it. That's exactly the reason that I do it for. Most of my students are working in acrylics, only because oils are forgiving also. I mean, you let them dry, you can paint over them, but the acrylics dry faster.
Sure.
Also, when they dry, they can be a little bit flatter. So, you know, you need a really good acrylic, and
Mhm,
then we
mhm.
put a nice glossy finish over them, or a matte
Sure.
finish, whatever.
Sure.
And they actually, some people can't tell, an artist maybe could, but most people can't tell the difference between the two.
Oh, good.
That's kind of, yeah. So,
Yeah.
so your inspiration is
Yeah. Well,
animals.
yeah. This is easy. The dogs are easy.
Yeah.
This is a
Ah,
personal favorite of mine. This is I took a picture of Tom Brady and painted him and did my own little at 199. So totally selfish painting. You know,
love it.
I'm a sports fan, so I had a lot of fun with this. This was a great. Again, I got lost when I started. I just could not stop. I just, like this, every little detail I wanted to add, I just couldn't stop. And then the next thing I know, I was like done, and I didn't want to be done. So this was fun.
Yeah,
But
you're channeling these things. I love the background. The background is kind of blurred, but it gives the
yeah,
impression of there's a crowd of people behind him. And
yeah,
he's, of
yeah,
course, crystal clear. I
yeah,
absolutely
right,
love it.
right, right.
Love it, love it.
Thanks. But I guess I typically like landscapes and seascapes. And
Yeah.
this was a couple of pictures I had taken in Cancun, and I kind of blended them together. And this one, if nothing else, for me personally, gives me a feeling of tranquility. I really like and this is actually hanging in my living room, but that's not true. It's hanging in G's right now. It's going to go back to my living room,
Yeah.
get down, and it's just I love looking at it because it just gives me this. You cannot be at this place and not be happy. It just you got to be happy.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love the colors of the water and the reflection of the clouds in the water. You know what intrigues me? The whole picture intrigues me. But that rowboat sitting out here in the foreground, there's very little wave around it, just a little on the front. And it
Mhm,
almost looks like it's floating in air, but you know that it's not. You know what I mean?
mhm.
And as I look at the picture, my eye keeps going back there going, I want to be sitting in that boat. It looks very
Absolutely.
light and airy, and like you said, very comfortable, very serene.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
absolutely beautiful.
So
Beautiful, beautiful, Michael.
thank you. Those are the ones I had queued up for us for our discussion today. I won't go further, but this is a kind of a snapshot of the things I enjoy doing.
Nice. Well, we totally, totally appreciate it. So now I have another question for you. Now, you said this one is one of your favorites and it's sitting in your living room. Do you sell your favorites, or
Oh
would you
yeah,
make a print? Oh, okay.
yeah. I think this is something that I put up at G's, and
Okay.
wanted to buy it. I would gladly have sold it because right now, because if nothing else, I'm prolific. I had to rent a storage shed for my paintings. I have literally, I did a rough count of maybe 200 paintings in the storage shed. So you can only have so many favorites.
That's
Uh,
right.
but I definitely, I'm trying to sell, and when I retire, I hope to make maybe, a little bit of money on the side, but
Oh,
it,
forget it. No,
it-
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
uh,
It's like one of the most difficult things because, and this is not a slam against the average person. The only people that really appreciate how much effort really goes into it is probably another artist, you know.
right.
And I hear from students all the time, and even myself, there's so many pictures. What do I do with them? What do I do with all of them? And so, I'll say to them, sell them, give them as gifts, give them
Right.
to organizations to raffle if it's an
Sure.
organization that you
Sure.
believe in to help them raise money and stuff. But typically, that's what happens. We accumulate a lot. And then I have a couple of students who don't want to part with them. They might be beginner students and they're like, I can't believe I did this. I don't want to sell it. And so I'll
Right.
say to them, you can get a canvas print for yourself, but sell the original. I said, a serious collector is going to, want originals. I said, so,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
really need to, at the very least, take some good photos so that you could have prints made if you decide, you want to down the
Right.
road sell postcards or
Sure.
whatever it might
Sure.
be. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that you can do with your art, certainly. But this is
Right.
absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous piece. Like I said, I love the feeling that it gives me, and I totally would love to sit in that little boat there just, and just take a nap or meditate. I'm a great
Oh,
meditator. I meditate all the time.
I,
So
it's funny you should say that. I find, especially when I'm in a painting that I'm really enjoying, I find it to be a form of meditation. I
definitely.
lose track of time. My blood pressure goes down. My heart rate goes down. It's very, very therapeutic.
I'll tell you, when you love something, it is therapeutic, and you become one with time, and you kind of lose track of the time. I play piano. That's kind of debatable. It depends on who you ask. Okay. But when I'm really into it or into the painting or something that I really, really love, the time, absolutely, it moves differently, and you're in a very relaxed state of mind, typically. Yeah,
Sure.
unless you're having trouble with the painting and it doesn't want to go the way you want it to go, then you kind of like, okay, put it aside, do something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So absolutely. So what is the most funnest thing about painting for you?
Oh, I would say taking a 2D surface like a canvas and making it look 3D. A few years ago, I learned a lot more about atmospheric perspective. And once I realized, was able to understand it better and convey it to some of the stuff I was painting, that was so much fun. I think making something 2D look 3D is part of the joy. So I think that's probably one of my favorites.
I love it, love it, love it. So what's the worst thing? What's the worst thing?
I think the worst thing might be a condition we all have, not enough time. Like I said, I'm still working. So, after dinner, maybe I'll get a couple hours in or weekends or whatever. But and certainly traveling, I always bring my Jillian box and do some painting en plein air. But it's time. I just I wish I had $1 million, but I wish I had 1 million hours. You know,
Yeah,
just
yeah, which is
just
more
a
valuable, right?
it
Yeah,
really is. It really
totally.
is.
Well,
You know,
once you retire, that should change a little bit,
right.
unless you do a Joan thing and decide, oh, okay, I'm gonna share, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, blah, blah, blah. And I actually find sometimes I have to schedule in my own art time. Okay, so everyone thinks once they retire, they're gonna be able to paint and draw and do all day long. Doesn't seem to work out that way too much. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you'll definitely be able to structure your time and do what you want to do and so on and so forth.
Right.
So is your We the People painting your very favorite so far, or do you not have a very favorite?
No, we the people is because I think I on some of my paintings I accomplished the composition and the colors and everything. But with We the People, I just love. I still love the message, and it's how I have genuinely lived all my life. My father was probably the
Nice,
decent man you've ever want to meet, and
nice.
enough to have him as my role model. So I've always accepted everybody, and for this to come out of my paintbrush was I'm definitely proud of it for sure. I mean,
Kind of a tribute to him. Is he
yeah,
still with us?
no, Dad has been gone for a while, but he's always with me because, like I said, he was a great guy, great dad, World War II veteran. The whole greatest generation type of guy. All he wanted to do was have a job and make money to put food on the table.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, yeah, if you have a role model like that, you can't go wrong, right?
No, you can't. You can't.
Do you ever find that you have a slump? People ask me that all the time. Do you get an artist block, And I don't know how to answer that sometimes.
I don't have that right now. I really there's so many ideas I want to paint, and again, a good artist could look at my stuff and say, "Oh, this guy is having fun, but he's not accomplishing much." That doesn't bother me if that was the case, because for me, right now I'm painting for me, and so I have so many things I want to paint, and whether it's a good composition or whether I execute it properly, I don't care. I'm still having so much fun. So I right now I got a million ideas.
That's great. That's really, really good. And when I have been self-employed for over 20 years before I semi-retired. And so when I first started out, I would take commissioned work. And that was difficult, to be honest with you,
Mhm.
because, you know, people had very specific ideas about what they wanted. And sometimes the things that they wanted were kind of weird, you know. Like one woman's like, "Oh, my husband started a trucking business. Will you do a truck portrait?" I went, "Huh?" So she brought over this picture of this, you know, humongous tractor trailer truck, and I did do it. And once I started it, it was like, oh, gee, I guess I never really looked at a tractor trailer truck because there were actually a lot of very interesting details on there. But, you know, if she had said to me, "Will you make a nice waterfall?" I probably would have liked that better. You know what
Right,
I mean?
right.
So taking on commissions was tough, because you're always trying to figure out what the other, you know, you're always trying to interpret what you hear. You know, I want this,
Sure,
this, and that. So I
sure.
got to a point where I would start drawing practice sketches and say, "This is what I'm thinking. Does that match what you want?" And then after you get a little bit more settled, you know, I stopped doing commissions, except for your family and friends. You can't say
Right,
no to
yeah.
them. You're being deep yogurt, Michael. And
Right.
so I actually enjoyed it more when I could do what I wanted to. Like right now, you know, you're going to retire, you're going to work on whatever you like, and you'll truly enjoy that. So even though you're a beginner artist, I have to ask you, what do you think makes an art piece successful? I love the answers I get from that question.
Well, what makes it successful? I believe every painting has the capability of being successful and unsuccessful, depending on the viewer. Someone like the painting I just had up, someone who's not a painter may look at that and say, "Oh, that looks like the vacation we took. I love this. I love this." A traditional artist may look at it, it's like, "That's too tight. It's too, you know." So the same person, excuse me, two different people could look at the same painting and come up with totally different opinions.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. So for you personally, what makes us successful? So is it something that makes you feel something? Is it something that means something to the viewer? For you personally, if you look at a picture,
But for me, when I look at a picture, when I go, say, like the Museum of Fine Arts or any kind of an exhibit, if I stop and look at the painting for more than a minute or two, it's grabbed me. Each individual one will have a different reason, but like I've always liked the painters from the Hudson River Valley, school, that the light, like, it just draws you right in, and you want to like drink the whole painting. It's like you want it all. Where some stuff, if I don't look at it for too long, it didn't catch my attention, then for me, it was a nice, successful painting. The next person who looks at it after me may love it. So it's really cool about art. It's very individual.
and very, very subjective, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
actually is a great answer because I personally feel the same way you do. And I've asked many artists that same question, and they'll say, "Well, you know, if the composition is balanced, or if it's this, or blah, blah, blah." But inevitably, they all end up saying, if it moves you, if it makes you feel something, so on and so forth. So that's a great answer. So if you look at a picture that kind of grabs your attention, so on and so forth, that makes it a successful picture for you.
Mhm.
And I have a story to validate that. I had done this really whimsical angel picture, and I don't know if you've seen any of my work, but I get teased a lot because everything has a lot of bling in it. You know, I always put a lot of style. And so this angel, the only reason you could tell she was a figure at all is just because of the way all the sparkles were arranged. And I mean, she really was one of my favorite pieces. I just felt like doing it. I did. And so it sat and sat and sat in my art bin for, I want to say, a good 5 years. And then I was doing an art show in Boston, and just something just kind of hit me like, gee, maybe I'll take it with me. And when I did, this woman comes up to me and she said, oh, I put a bid on your angel. She said, I come here every year to see your work. I knew one of these days you would make something that spoke to me. And I was like,
Oh,
oh my God, you know?
oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, this was a picture. It was like, okay, it was going to end up in the trash. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right, right,
It was something meaningful. So it speaks to directly what you're talking about. You know what I mean?
right.
So that's an excellent. So I know you still consider that you're learning yourself, but at some point, would you teach? Do you think you'd ever teach?
If I was good enough to teach, I would gladly teach. What I have done prior to the pandemic was we would host paint nights with my friends, and we had so much fun with this because many of my friends would say, "I don't want to come because I can't even draw a stick figure."
Right.
I said, "Oh, we're not going to draw stick figures. And we're gonna,
Good answer.
so you don't have to worry about that. That's not going to be in the test." And we would have anywhere from maybe 12 to 18 of my friends would sit down. We had a ball doing it, and everyone came out of it saying that they were amazed at themselves that they were able to do it. And it was so rewarding for me because even my friend's daughter, adult daughter, was with us, and I just met her, and she just aced it. She was like so good.
Wow.
So how many paintings have you done? And she said, this is my first painting ever. And it was so neat to be able to see that she was, I don't know if she ever got hooked on it, but I
That was
think,
going to be my next question. Did she do more? You
I
know?
don't know, because unfortunately, because of the pandemic, it's like we've been isolated. And I'm hoping as things calm down, we're going to start doing these again.
Yeah.
I'll definitely ask my friend if his daughter could come back, because she was
If you decide to do that, you should put something on your website so people can maybe
Sure.
join you at some point. Where did you do these? Where did you do these?
The first one we did it in my house. You and I spoke before, I just moved, we downsized. So we had a good sized room to have it at. But my friend Jim lives in near the Atkinson-Salem border at a very large house. It's a very nice room for it. So we had the last few of them there. And it was, in a nice adult surrounding. We start off with appetizers, maybe an adult beverage or two. And then we'd go up and we
I
would,
want to go. I want to go now.
John, it was so much fun. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody took their paintings home,
Yeah, yeah.
and they wanted that, they're all hanging and whatever.
Were these acrylics? Acrylics or
We did
oils?
acrylics, so they could
Right,
take them
so you
home.
could get them home, right?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't want anyone to have their clothes and their cars be covered in oil. So we used acrylics. We did some basic things and basic paintings, but each time we did them, the success that my friends had was so neat. They're just a cool thing.
Yeah. Yeah. You had mentioned the joy you got when someone realized that, they could do something like that. That's going to
Yeah.
be the best. Did you find that people would repeat the classes? They'd come back every month?
Pretty much it was the same core of people that were doing it. If we put the word out that we were going to do another paint night, everybody was in. And so we have, like I said, all my friends have been vaccinated, and so we're feeling more comfortable about spending time together
Yeah. Yeah.
in an enclosed environment.
Yeah.
Hoping we can get one in before when I retire in October. I want to hit the road and go do some traveling. So before I leave New England temporarily for a trip, I want to see if we can get one more in to
Yeah, you definitely
Yeah.
should. You should.
yeah.
And you should take pictures and post them.
I do have pictures, and I should post them because I took pictures of the work, and I just was shocked at how good I must be a good teacher.
You are, for sure. That's what that means.
But everyone, and if nothing else, the mission that was accomplished was everyone had fun. They maybe they needed to be prodded to do it in a group environment, but I think if any of them ever stopped and said, maybe I want to try this and set up a little studio in a spare room or something. They make it hook like I did.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think paint nights, when they first came out with them, I was like, how are you going to get a decent painting in 2 or 3 hours that people actually want to hang up in their house? But then I did some work for the Drake Council on Aging, which I still do some work for them. And we did start running paint days yeah, like once a month. And that's exactly what happened. People would come and say, gee, they'd say the same thing. I can't draw a stick figure. And I'd say, neither can I, don't worry about it, And so when we would start painting and whatnot, they were always amazed at, what they could do. And a lot of them did return. So to me, the greatest part of that was having them discover that they could be creative on that level. And it added an extra layer of enjoyment or confidence or something on that idea. So I've reevaluated, and I do think that they have a lot of value, certainly.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, just with the pandemic and stuff, it makes you realize, just how social we humans are,
Right.
we want to
right.
be together, and we want
Right,
to
right.
socialize, and we want to party a little bit and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay, so your artwork is for sale.
It is.
What kind of payments do you take, young man? Do you take like Venmo, check, money?
Yeah, Venmo, cash, PayPal,
So everything, really.
expensive bourbon.
I love it. No one has said that one yet. That's a new one.
Well, you have to branch out to get.
Branch out. I like that. I may have to feel that a little bit. I
Okay,
really like that.
It's all good.
It's all good.
Yeah. I definitely the electronic ways of paying now is so convenient. PayPal and Venmo obviously are very easy.
Yeah.
Cash.
They're instantaneous. It's like
amazing.
It's
fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, you want some money? Yeah, here's my Venmo thing,
Yeah.
So it makes it really easy to spend your money. Also makes it
right.
a little bit easier to get it back.
Yeah, even the ones that I sold at G's restaurant, a couple of them were cash and a couple of them were Venmo. So it was really very convenient. Yeah.
Totally.
Mm.
So are you going to be at the Arts Festival in September 11th? It's coming up soon.
The Art Walk.
Yes. Not the Art Walk, the Arts Festival.
Oh, no, I'm not. I because of I know because of moving and buying and selling a house and planning my retirement, I'm still trying to buy an RV too for the fall. Excuse me. So my dance card has been kind of full, and one of the reasons why I'm doing the Art Walk is because of a friend of mine who's recently getting back into art asked me how to do it, and I said, well, let's do it all together. So my wife and myself, the three of us are going to paint outside of Casablanca in Haverhill. So
what days? Tell people.
That's going to be the Art Walk is, I believe, September 11th. I believe.
I think it ends. Does it end September 11th? September 11th is the Arts Festival on Bradford Common.
Okay. Whatever.
Okay. All right. So people, let me just say that people can find out that information at ghaa.art. Okay, because we have a calendar of events there, and that does include the Art Walk. And like I said, it was, the couple of days that I was there, it was a lot of fun and really encouraged people to kind of go there.
Right.
GHAA is celebrating 50 years. 50
Amazing.
years. It is amazing. And I mean, Ann Jones is our president, and whenever I say to her, oh, Ann, the foundation has just bloomed under your tutelage. Oh, Joan, it takes a team. And so she just brushes me off. But I'll tell you, I was a member of the GHAA before she took hold of it, and it was in pretty poor shape, so she took on a big job, a really huge job, and she has done amazing with it. And she's very open to the things that are new for her. Like she says, I'm not computer literate, But during the pandemic, that's a lot of people. But during the pandemic, we were able to do some live Facebook stuff and presentations. We're doing tutorials, introducing our membership to people. So really appreciated that you folks come on and let me yap at you for a while and all that good stuff. Plus, I do the bookkeeping and I see all the names, but other than like the board and a few other people, I don't actually
Sure.
get to meet you guys. So this is
Sure.
very cool. And
Sure.
now I think our demos, oh no, wait, the Saturday morning workshops are back in person now.
Oh, very good.
Very good. Those, I believe, are twice a month, and they're at the church across from Bradford Common.
Sure.
And I think they're only like $5 and stuff. And and I'm really, really happy that we are able to see each other in person and work on it that way. So, what is the best way for folks to get in touch with you? I know you said I know your website. So tell again about your website. Do you also have a Facebook presence or a Twitter?
Even though I'm really a technology savvy person, I've been in computers since the 80s.
I love you.
Social media ignorant. So I do have a Facebook page, but I need to get that out better. So right now the website's the best place.
The best place.
And also on my website, I believe I have my phone listed. So a quick communication by text or call is also
also good.
And most Fridays you can find me at G's. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Can they email you, or is that a private?
Yes. Yeah. mdlstudios@yahoo.com.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. And it's funny is when I picked the name is, again, I just picked MDL Studios, my initials and studios. There's a Nigerian company, MDL Studio, without the S. All my friends look at it and they say, Mike, what do you?
Yeah.
What's wrong with your website? So
your website, you have a really unique website,
yeah,
Michael.
exactly. We didn't know you were international.
Yeah, talk them into putting a little link on there to your art site.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Well, I cannot thank you enough. You are as delightful online as you were in person. You just have a personality that people take to right away. So
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joan.
You are very welcome. You have a good rest of the day and be legendary, my friend.
All right, I will. Thank you. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.